We're standing up here on 10 tee box. One of the most dramatic changes on the golf course was the shift of the 10th green back 50 yards. And early in the process, a lot of members talking about how are we going to make that move. And Andrew Green's famous line, we're just moving dirt, and we're moving dirt. I think it all made sense to me when a member came up to me the other week and they said, when are we moving 10 green? And we said, well, we have moved 10 green. So I think you nailed it. But maybe talk to us about what we see here from the tee on number 10.
When we started to look at this, it was kind of an opportunity that hadn't been there before because maybe the idea of utilizing the technology, but then also probably the mindset that there used to be the par 3 there, the old 11. And so when Ross had done the work, it really wasn't an option to have it sitting back. So as we worked through the planning process, I started to look at the contour mapping, and the high point that the green set on previously mirrored very much the next high point back. And so I kind of started doodling with it, and we saw that the kind of concentric contours to get the green sitting such a dominant presence in the landscape worked perfectly, shifting it back. So drew in the contours, and CAD said it was possible. Thank goodness for technology. And when we laid it out, it really fit on there beautifully. And as we worked through the process, I probably got a little nervous at one point where, the greenside bunkers, especially on the right and left side, and a little bit of that bench in the back, just trying to really make that feel like it always had been there. But got on the bulldozer, we massaged a few things, and it just turned out great. The highest compliment in the world was that someone asked, when are we moving it, and it was already moved.
Yeah, it sits out there perfectly. I mean, obviously an incredible view from 10 previously, and now probably one of the most special views in the golf course.
Yeah, I think just the first impression, right? You come out into the back here, and it is just like a cathedral of golf that sits out here. It is just really special, and 10 is certainly a highlight. The anticipation of playing that golf hole on the front 9, I'm sure will be in the player's mind.
Awesome. Well, maybe let's take a walk down 10. We'll stop there maybe at the rise coming up where the bunkers are, and then we'll finish on the green. So we're coming up to what was the 125-yard rise to the green previously, now almost a 175-yard rise, I guess.
Yeah.
And talk to us about the strategy here for the player. I mean, where we're standing now, a completely blind shot if you're short of the hillside.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the flagstick for most hole locations, so that's important. But it starts to bring in a decision-making process of, if you have the power to take on a couple different options, it's do you lay back, do you start to challenge some of the sand, or depending on which tee you're playing from, how much risk do you take on, how far down the golf hole do you play? And I think that really, when you're talking about a straightaway golf hole, trying to develop thought and perspective, staying on the tee, you have to have that decision of, okay, I've got to pick a line, but I know it's fairly straight. So then it all of a sudden becomes a distance debate in your head of, okay, how far down here am I trying to get it? Certainly, it would be great to be somewhere in here or beyond. But it's part of the decision-making process as a player, and just the ability to unlock kind of the potential of this land in doing what we've done.
And talk to us about the bunkering. I think one of the most common questions I've received is, the green went 50 yards back. Did the bunkers also go 50 yards back? And how did that play into your strategy on the hole?
Yeah, we definitely shifted the bunkers around. Some of it was utilizing the natural contour. So, we set the bunkers here where they've kind of traditionally been on the right side. And then we utilized the kind of the first roll for this guy, and the next one up on the left really fits gracefully into that second kind of knob. So it's really as much about landscape position and then working the fairway width and the angles of play to make it all work.
Yeah, I think we walk up to the green area. One of the things that sticks out to me at this stage of the project, now that we're starting to see grass on both sides of the road, is you really get to feel the land. You feel the land a lot more. I think your golf ball is going to feel the land a lot more, but it feels so natural. We made a lot of changes, but they're changes that feel as if they've been there for 100 years. It's actually hard to believe they were another way.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a lot of work to try to get it to feel that way. One of the big things we did was kind of get this fairway to start to have some cant and allow it to kind of get a bit of a hog's back as we get into this kind of either a potential second shot landing zone or a very long player, especially playing from a more forward tee, ending up in this space and trying to get it where once we got beyond the sand, that there's still a little bit of thought playing left or right by your ball position of, is the ball below your feet, above your feet? and make you think a little bit there too.
Yeah, I think it's hard to explain to people or convey to people how hard that work is in the field and how many times you work on certain features to get them to that exact perfect place, right? It's, CAD maybe says you can do it, but it's a lot more art in the field to actually make sure it works and fits.
I think I probably spent 4, maybe 5 visits, working on the bulldozer with this, trying to get it to kind of showcase its potential. So really, yeah, really happy with it, for sure.
Well, let's go up to the top of the green and we'll wrap up there.
Yeah, as the player, starts to get closer to the green, the relationship from, this kind of approach up to the putting surface is very similar to what we had previously. And then we really worked hard on the front of the green, trying to recapture the corners. And that really allows us to drape hole locations right behind these imposing bunkers, and then also work the corners, which is really provides some nice variety.
Yeah, it's hard to believe 10's better. I always felt like 10 was one of those holes, you play the first 9 and it kind of progressively gets interesting. Then you get to 10, you turn around and it's just like, holy cow, this is about to get really, really good. And you've certainly captured that here in some really fun pin positions. To your point, front left, front right. This pin in the way back of the green here, things we didn't, places we didn't have.
Yeah, really the interior contours are very much mirrored from the previous version of the green, but we did work kind of on the edges and the corners for those extra hole locations that just add variety, the ability to play the golf course every day and have a little something new.
I think the other thing up here is, all of a sudden you just start to take in all these views. Actually, one of my favorites is looking back now, the bridge kind of frames that 12th green sitting up there on the top of the hill, and fun to see what's to come in the next few holes. Well, this is one of Andrew's last visits here as we get to the middle part of October, end of October, and as you can see behind us, we're nearing the end of construction. All of our seed is down. We've got some last little bit of sodding here in the next couple weeks before we button up and let winter do its job and keep growing in the spring.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for everything. The staff and the team that have made this happen have been off the charts. It has been a tremendous pleasure.
Fun for us too. We'll look forward to a little end of season recap here in a couple weeks, and until next time, Andrew, thanks for the time.
Thank you.